Got Dennis.
Hey.
Hey, got Mr. J. Tyler Ray, Evagene, couple of robot note takers. Got Mr. Belko. Awesome. What up? What up? What up? All right. So, as keeping in the theme of being in a different location every day, right now I'm sitting in Los Angeles traffic on the way to the airport. So, it's a very exciting background today, and tomorrow we'll finish this thing out from Mexico. So, but that is what's up, Carolus? Awesome. All right. So, who, based on what we did yesterday, who went out, who tested this, who practiced, what'd you guys notice? Give me start out with a couple of wins.
One thing I will tell you is that I noticed that it has like fundamental psychology of Alex Hermosi 100 million offer. It's like those four pillars are very coming together from all those four elements.
Yes.
Have you noticed that yourself? Because that was interesting. I was working on offers yesterday, and I was noting what we did together, and it seems that it has this clear resonance.
Yeah, no, that's good. I did not notice that until you pointed it out, but I think that's a really, really good insight. Right, which just kind of goes to show how universal these human principles are. Which is why, yes, we're talking about it with sales, but also this is just human interactions. Right, because humans at the end of the day, is different, as many differences as we are. We're all kind of the same. We all want the same things. Right? We want to be healthy, want to have money, live a lifestyle, we want to be loved. And then at the higher levels, we want to get recognized for things. So that's a really, really good insight. Thank you for sharing. What else? Let's go one or two more.
I just become a little bit more intentional about listening where people are coming from. So I think that it's looking, and again, this is very useful because now is all focus on them. Sometimes you get into the mindset thinking what should you say, but now when you're looking into other person, you forget about it and just really follow the person. I think I'm more intentional because then people understand like, okay, this person is coming from survival. They just need a base. They want to have a peace of mind. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, dude, really good. What you just did is keep doing that because that's empathy. Right? It's thinking about not what do I want to say or where am I coming from, where's the other person coming from. And that ties into what we're going to talk about today. So keep doing that. That is the ultimate. All the scripts, all the lines, all the magic secret 5-letter words in the world will pale in comparison to you just being able to do that and understand the other person. I'm going to give you guys. So today we're going to be talking about this communication method. It's literally the oldest way that humans communicate. And it's the most effective way. It's the most powerful way. And when you do this, you can get into someone else's reality and you can get your ideas across in a way that they feel really good. So first, I'm going to tell you guys a story that I literally used this a couple days ago. So I went to, if anybody's been following on social media, I had a passport, needed a last-minute passport. And so I made an appointment, went down to the office, the federal building, and there was a line. I went at 7:30 in the morning when they told me to go. There was a line wrapped around the building already. And it was probably a couple hours. I did not want to wait that line. So instead, I asked myself, first question I asked was, how could I create a context in which I could skip this line? I do not want to wait in this line, but I'm not going to be a dick and cut everybody. So how can I change this filter on reality? How can I create a situation in which it makes sense for me to skip this one? And how can I create a situation in which this makes sense? How can I create a context? And I'm looking around and I see that there's a security guard. This guy with body armor and a gun and all his security guard stuff. And the guy's middle-aged, in good shape, but he's also working security at a passport office. Right. So I think, and he's, he's directing people, and he's taking his job very seriously. But he's not like out of it. He's very focused. He's very like, you guys go here, you guys go here, stand in line here. He's very dialed. Like, all right, this guy probably wants to be seen as doing a good job. What's up, Willem? This guy probably wants to be seen as a badass because he's carrying armor, he's got a gun, but his job is not that badass, but he probably wants to be. He probably wants to be a little more authoritative, a little more police, a little more military, but he kind of got a not so glamorous version of that. So I say to myself, so I'm also saying to myself, this is the guy that has the power. This is the guy in this context, that situation that has all the power in it. So how can I create a context? How can I create a situation in which the guy that has the power in this situation gives me what I want, which for me is to skip the line and just go up. So I walk up to him, and with the foundation of confidence and authority, which, by the way, like we talked about day one, none of this works if you're not confident. If the things that you're sub-communicating to other people don't scream leadership and trust and authority, none of it works. Which is why tomorrow I'm going to show you guys how to put this all together. Tomorrow I'm going to give you guys the magic formula. I'm going to show you how to fix the internal confidence as well. Tomorrow we're putting everything together into a system. So I walk up to this guy with this confidence, with this authority, and I'm thinking, how can I change the context? What's he used to? He's used to yelling at people, telling people where to stand, walking people around. No, he's not being a dick. That's just what he's used to. That's what he's doing. And I'm like, if I fall into that frame, if he sees me as just another person here to stand in line, it doesn't matter. People probably ask him for stuff all the time. Nothing is gonna matter if this guy thinks, if he puts me in the same category in his mind, if he puts me in the category of person to wait in line, I'm fucked. Right? I'm not getting past it. In the same way, when you get on a call, like we talked about 2 days ago, if you get on a call and the person you're talking to puts you in the category of this guy's just trying to sell me some shit, you're fucked. Right? You're literally fucked because they put you in a category that's really, really hard to get out of. Like we talked about yesterday, going back through the decision-making process, right? If his brain says I can ignore this, fucked. His brain says this is a threat, I have a lot of work to do. So I need to give his brain, bypass all of that, and I need to create a situation, create a context of this interaction in which it makes sense for him to do what I want him to do. So I take that whole thing and I say, this guy, take that whole, all that information as a whole, right? And people, I posted this and everyone's like, what did you say? What did you say? This is what I said. There's no magic line. It's I took the situation. I said, how can I create a context in which this makes sense? So I said, what does this guy probably want right now? This guy probably wants to be seen as a badass. He probably wants some recognition, right? He wasn't trying to make money. He's getting paid. He wasn't looking for love. He wasn't defending himself. This guy wants recognition. And he's taking his job very seriously. So I go up to him, I go, man, it's crazy out here. You're doing, it's incredible how you're managing all these people. You're really keeping order here. You're really keeping this whole thing moving very well. And I say, he sits up with pride. I see I hit a nerve, a good nerve. He sits up with pride. He's like, fuck yeah, I am. So that's what he wants. And I'm not sitting there trying to tell him what a badass I am. I'm telling him what a badass he is, because I know that's what he wants. Now, let's go a little deeper with this. What is the context in which somebody would pay somebody as a compliment on doing a good job? Is the average person standing in line going to tell me he's doing a good job? No. So who tells you you're doing a good job? Either a peer, someone who's equal, or a mentor, a boss, somebody who's supervising you. So by doing that, giving him that compliment, a meaningful compliment that I knew he cared about, because I complimented him on something he was putting effort into. Right? I didn't say, wow, your eyes look so pretty. I said, this thing that you're trying really hard on right now, you're doing a great job with that. It's very impressive. And because I'm saying it with confidence, it carries a lot of weight, because now he's being respected by someone who's either an equal or I don't like superior or inferior because it applies to hierarchy. It's a bad mindset. He's being recognized by somebody who's either a peer or a supervisor. Right? So I've just created an entire context. I've changed this guy's entire brain chemistry to now he sees me. I'm not just some person standing in line. I'm an equal. Hey, I see you. Good job. Right? That recognition. And I know he wants that recognition. So he goes, he stills with the pride. He sits up with pride, relaxes. He goes, oh, thanks, brother. Do you think he calls a regular person standing in line brother? No. Thanks, brother. What does that imply? Equal. He now sees me as an equal. He now sees me as a friend. I've changed the entire context of this interaction in about 2 sentences. And now instead of seeing me as some person in line, he sees me as a friend. What do you do for friends? You hook your friends up. You help your friends out. So he goes in. So me after that, he looks down. He goes, "Oh, you got to repay. What do you know?" I'm like, "I need to get to the window. There's this crazy line here." He goes, "Oh, no problem." He goes, "You know what? Go to the window. Go to that first window, letter A, and tell him I sent you. Tell him Brandon sent you." It's Brandon. He goes, "Oh." I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it." Walk me up to the front of the line. Gave me permission, said I can name drop him, and I was in and out in about 20 minutes. So let's break that down a little more. So context. If anybody here's, you've heard of the word frame. Right? Frame is basically how are we viewing this interaction through. And I want someone to view me, right? So if I want to make any sort of sale, whether it's financial sale, whether it's convincing the security guard to let me cut the line, whether it's convincing a potential partner, prospect, somebody to go on a date with me, I need to create a context in which that makes sense. I need to create a context. I need to create, in other words for this is narrative. Another word for narrative is story. So I need to create a story, and everybody's got a story going through their head. Here's the story everybody has. Every single person is going through this. Every movie you've seen follows this formula. It's because it's a universal human experience. So I'm going to tell you guys a story. Imagine we're 10,000 years ago, and we're hanging out. We're sitting around the campfire, and I come down. I say, "Hey guys, I went out this morning. I was really hungry. You know, my wife, my kids were starving, and I knew if I didn't feed them, then they were going to starve. Kids were going to die. So I got up and I tried to leave the village. It was so hard. Like I tried to leave. It was just really scary to go out there. And I went back a couple of times, but finally I left. And I went up this hill. And up the top of the hill, there was a tiger. And I had to fight the tiger. And it was hard, dangerous. I got these scars. And I went down the hill, and there were berries down there. And there was fish. I was able to bring back all this food. And now my family's healthy. And actually, on top of that, I was able to bring back so much. Here you go. I brought some for everybody. Wow, cool. Everybody really likes that guy. But what is the story that I really just told? Well, you may have heard of it called The Hero's Journey. There's a main character. There's something they want. There's stakes. There's something on the line. If they don't achieve it, bad things happen. There's leaving the normal world. There's a journey. There's challenges. And then there's doing the thing you want and coming back with it. And it's the hero's journey. It's a universal story. The reason it resonates is because we're all going through a version of that. Everybody here has a big dream. You've had challenges. You've had setbacks. And yet you keep going. You keep trying. And you have victories along the way. And then it keeps going. There's more challenges, more setbacks, more victories. And it becomes this never-ending cycle that goes on forever until we die. So this framework, this story, represents not only the personal experience that everybody's going through. Everybody here, everybody you're ever going to meet is going through their own version of this. And everyone's version is equally difficult to them. Somebody that had severe trauma and all sorts of crazy shit happen, comparatively, is having just as hard of a time as somebody who may have had relatively smaller problems. But there's a really good quote that I read in a book called Man's Search for Meaning, which is about the Holocaust, which is a tough read, but really, really powerful. Watch through it. One of the things he talks about is that human suffering just fills the person. It doesn't matter how much or how little it is, it fills the entirety of the person. So understand that everybody's going through challenges and setbacks and difficult things that to them is the toughest thing in the world. And this is where empathy, which we've been working on this week, understanding what is this person's experience like, right? Which is why, Ben, as I love what you said at the beginning of this, that's this skill. And when I can start to see now, what is this person's story? What is this person struggling with? What is this person suffering with? And most importantly, what does this person want? How does this person want to be seen? Right? Which is why we start looking at those needs. What are those needs? What do they need? Right? In this case, the story I told you guys, it was recognition. In the caveman story I just told you, it was self-preservation, right? Saving his kids, his future offspring, right? His DNA. So there's always going to be something that somebody needs. And so the way you do this is when you can recognize, first of all, it's getting out of your own version, realizing nobody cares about your like what you're going through, right? As far as what you're working on influence. Your problems are your problems. You solve them with your friends, your coaches, the people in your life. When you're talking to somebody that you want to persuade, all you care about is their story, their problems, what they want. So if I walked up to that security guard and started talking about how cool I am and maybe like some military experience, he might have been like, cool, bro, but deep down inside, he's like, I don't care. Like, why are you doing it? Why are you coming to talk to me this? But by going up and complimenting him on what he's doing, what he cared about, be massively create this massive, deep level connection very, very quickly to change the entire context, the narrative of the story. So now he's not sitting there telling a story of how here's just another guy who wants to get his passport and get in line. He's now got a story of, oh, this really cool guy made me feel awesome, really recognized me, and we're friends because he talks to me like a friend. He talks to me like an equal. Therefore, we must be equals. And I helped him out, and I'm awesome for that. Right? I made him feel really good for what he did as well. So, putting this all together, is this making sense, by the way? I know not a lot of cameras are off, so I just see a bunch of blank faces staring at me.
It makes sense.
Something. Give me a.
Yeah,
Okay,
it makes
cool.
sense.
Okay, awesome. As I'm sitting here talking to myself, hoping it's landing. So awesome, cool. All right, thanks, guys. Good up, Jay, Careless. You're driving, we're not distracted. I appreciate that. I'm driving, but I'm also driving it's rush hour. I'm driving very, very slow. So I appreciate that, though. So how do we put this all together? What do we do? What do we do with this? So building off of what we've been building on, right? So if I can understand what's in that person's head, a picture that they're seeing. What do they want? And then what's the story? What is the story that this person is in? And how do I find out what story the person's in? Usually they'll just tell you. Usually they will just tell you. People love to talk about themselves, people love to tell their stories. So most people are craving. Here's another truth that everybody here will understand, but most people won't talk about. Everybody is secretly very lonely and very disconnected and doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to admit it. If you can give people an opening to that and give people a place, because most people don't get to be seen. Most people don't get to really, most people are trying to pretend that things are better, they're happier, they're more confident, they're more loved. Most people are trying to put on this face of things being better than they really are, right? Which is very normal. Everybody does this, myself included. You guys see my highlight reel on social media. You just don't see the boring stuff or all the it's just this human nature, right? So we put on this mask of how we want to be seen. So if I can now understand what is this person probably going through and how do they want to be seen, I can now give them that. I can literally give them what I know they want. And if I can change their story, or if I can tell a story that puts them as the hero, I can create a story that they want to be in, I've just gained access to a very, very deep level of influence and persuasion. I've really been able to change the context. The context is the whole frame of what is happening right now. And so, for example, the story I told you guys, the context, I went from the context of I have to go stand in some line at some government office to I made the guy feel awesome and feel like we're best friends, feel very respected and appreciated. And I got what I wanted. And I didn't have to ask for what I wanted. That's the best thing. Nowhere in there was, can I cut the line? Can you walk me up front? Nowhere in there was that question asked. All that was we had to change the context so he saw me as an equal or higher potentially. And I mentioned that I'm here and I just had to wait this. I was about to jump in this really, really long line because if it was the thing I really didn't want to do. If you saw a friend struggling, doing something you didn't want to do, you'd probably go help them out. So this is simple, and I'm trying to make this concept as simple as possible. And this is probably one of the most powerful things you can do. And this is where I see a lot of sales also get lost, is people go in and they create a shit context right out of the bat. And immediately the other person's thinking, this person's a salesperson, this person's trying to sell me. I'm not going to get sold. Nobody wants to be sold. And if they're thinking you're a salesperson going to sell them something, automatically their frame is going to be, I'm not going to get sold. And that's when afterwards you go through everything, they can answer all the questions just right, but you have a context where they're not going to be sold because they're not going to get fucking sold by you. And then that's when you get I have to think about it, I have to sleep on it, send me some information, to talk to my mom's, dogs, pastors, shampoo rumor or whatever weird excuses people come up with. That's just a automatic script. That's just an autopilot response they're having because deep down inside, there's a context where they're saying, I'm trying to get sold. I'm not going to get sold. I'm going to say anything I can to not get sold. And what are the lines that I know? What do we do automatically? I think about it, send me some information, blah, 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 blah. So that's the key here. So what I want you guys to be, so how to implement this as far as what to practice with this is I want you, when you're talking to people, and again, all these skills, this is practice, right? This will be built on skill every single day. We've added like a new layer to this. And tomorrow, like I said, tomorrow, I'll show you the super high-speed formula to turn this into a framework. But the biggest mistake is thinking that it's A plus B plus C equals D. Right? Thinking that human beings are formulas and spreadsheets, and they're not. So everybody that's ever, like when I posted that on social media, was asking me, what'd you say? What'd you say? What were the 2 magic lines? I told you guys the line. I gave you guys the lines. But do you think those lines would work in any other context? Probably not. So it's not about the line. It's about seeing what the person needs, how they want to be seen, and giving that in a way that changes the context. So what I want you guys to do, the way to practice this, is when you're talking to people today, whether you're sales calls, whether it's team calls, whether you're just out and about in the world, but you should be talking to people in some, you should have some human interactions with people every single day, especially new people. And if you're not, you need to keep down. So, and you cannot practice this stuff from the void of behind a computer screen by yourself. You have to be talking to people because everything you want comes from other people. So the way to practice this today is you're talking to somebody, continuing with this, continuing with what are they experiencing? Well, you really now start to imagine what is this person's story? This person has a story of their life. This person has a narrative. For most people, they're going to be in the struggle part of the story. Most people, you talk to them, they're going to be in some sort of struggle part of the story. It's very rare that you're going to meet somebody that's just like, I came back with the prize and everything is amazing. And most people are going to be in some sort of struggle part of their story. It's normal. And again, you get this when you're on calls, you're talking to people, you know, what's going on, help, what's the biggest, it's a sales call, you can literally say, what made you want to get on this call, look at what's going on. They'll tell you exactly what their problems are. But they're going to tell you a story. They're going to tell you a story. So you listen to not just what do they say, right here, what's the overall narrative, the bigger picture. What is the story they're in? What are they setting out to do? What's the thing that they're setting out to do? What's the thing that they really want? That they set out for that prize? What do they want? What are their trials? What are their struggles? What are their setbacks? What's in the way? What have they already tried? Right, this is the key. I'll give you guys a little preview for tomorrow. One of the keys to really getting somebody to shift their approach is understanding what they've already tried and showing them what's different about this new thing. Because if I know that they've tried XYZ, they've tried everything, and if it works, I need to show them a different approach. Because if they're like, I already tried going up the hill to get the berries, but there's a tiger up there, I can go up the hill to get the berries. Like, I tried that, there's a tiger there. So I need to give them a different approach. I need to give them a different, something needs to be different in the story now that changes it. So let's go through some popular stories that show you what this is. Right? Harry Potter. Right? Harry Potter is a pretty good one. What does he want? Ultimately, love or recognition, depending on what part of the story we're in. Right? And what's different is in a lot of the stories, each one's gonna be a little different, but in a lot of the stories, what's different is his friends. He's trying to do something by himself, fails, and then he brings in his friends, and his friends help him, and now he succeeds. So what's different? He had a team, he had people with him. And so you can notice this in any story. There's going to be some turning point where something is different now. Now they have something they didn't have, and that's the thing that enables them to be successful. The other benefit that it has is that lets them in their story, that lets them put the blame or put the failure on a villain, external to them, not them. So if you ever, one of the biggest things you'll hit with people, one of the biggest resistance points, people will be like, well, I'm sure it works, but I don't think it'll work for me. Right? Anybody ever heard some version of that? It's because they don't trust themselves, because they think they've tried everything before and it didn't work. So if you're getting that, it means you haven't shown them what's different. So I need to tell them a story. I need to show them a story in which now something is different, and now their story can go in a different direction. So when you're talking to people today, you listen for their story, and I want you to shut up about everything about you, and really, really listen. And I love what you came in and said this morning. You're just seeing other people, because right? That's empathy, and that skill, that's better than any other skill that you can have as far as influence and persuasion. So when you're talking to people, what is their story? What is this person's story? Be genuinely interested. Right? I like to picture the person. I like to imagine the person going through their story. I like to imagine the person as a little kid. I'm finishing up. I just finished up doing a couple days private event with a client. One of the things we were talking about was patterns. He's actually in the car with me right now. One of the things we were talking about was patterns. As we're going through that, I'm asking questions. I'm pulling out that story, but I'm also imagining him as a little kid. I'm imagining what must it have been like to have that experience that I can't relate to. I don't have that experience. A lot of the experience that he had. And if I'm sitting there like, well, I don't get that, then it'll be a disconnection. But I'm sitting there literally picturing him as a little kid, imagining, wow, what must that have been like? So listening to this, now I can understand somebody's story at a much deeper level. So get interested in people and listen for their story. And their story, kind of the key to this, is what do they want? Right? What do they want? How do they want to be seen? What does this person want in this story? What is this person seeking? And to go back to yesterday, it's going to go, or excuse me, to go back to Tuesday, it's going to go into one of these 4 categories. The thing that they're seeking is going to fall into one of those 4 categories, which again is refresher, self-preservation, survival, money, wealth, love, connection, or recognition. Everything everybody's going through, everything everybody's seeking is going to fall into one of those 4 at any given time. So practice listening to the person's story, practice listening to people's story, not just hearing what do they want, but like the whole picture. The bigger picture you can see, the more context you'll have. I'll teach you guys go more into framing and how to change that. Usually if I just give the person what they want, what they need, that usually carries a lot of weight, because it's a thing that they can see so much. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. So today, go out, practice that, listen to people's stories, look at the big picture, see the big picture, see the whole story in context of what did they want, what they tried, what their struggles, who is their villain. Every great story has a villain. Who is this person's villain? And the better you can get at seeing this, the more effective you'll be. And here's what I mean. I can do this everywhere. There's a I'm in traffic right now. I can look at those bumper stickers and probably learn a lot about that person. There's a Lexus here with a bumper sticker right next to us. It says something about nature. So it's like a hand like this. It says something about nature. So right away, I know that the person values peace, quiet, exercise, being fit, being athletic, movement. Just from a little bumper sticker, I can grab fractions, I can grab pieces from that person's story right off the bat, because that's what they've decided. They've intentionally put that sticker there to tell the world something. This is what I want the world to know about me. I want the world to know that I have this Buddhist hand in nature. I didn't have to do that. That was very intentional. So does this make sense? So people are telling you a lot about them, but you have to look and you have to get out of your head, which is why day 1 we started with get out of your head and get into their world. People are giving you a lot of information, a lot. So what questions do you guys have? If any.
No questions at the
Awesome.
moment.
All right, cool. So go out and do this. Go practice this today. And again, you're probably not going to get it perfect your first time. It probably does. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate that, man. Don't expect perfection the first time. Just go practice it. You'll start to see the pieces, and you'll get better and better. And give yourself credit for the attempt. Give yourself credit for, I just noticed one little thing even if you're in traffic and you just notice someone's bumper sticker, to ask yourself, what does this person want to be seen as? What can I probably infer about that person from their bumper sticker? You're doing it, right? So this is a skill. The reason I was able to do the thing with the security guard pretty quickly and unconsciously is because I've been practicing this for a long time. It's not a skill I was born with. Some supernatural ability that I have. I actually used to be really bad with people. There was a time where I would have probably gotten in a fight with that guy. So this is a trainable skill. And so you learn it by training one little bit at a time. So practice this. Go practice this. And then tomorrow, I'm going to show you guys how to literally put this all together, change your confidence. And I'm going to give you the formula for this week. That'll put it all together. So everybody go practice, get it, and see you guys tomorrow for grand finale. Thanks, guys. Peace.